Hi friends, welcome to Harmony Hills Home and Garden. I'm Jenny and we live and garden in Baltimore, Maryland, Zone 7. Today I was working through just getting a bunch of stuff done, but then I thought, you know what, maybe I should turn the camera on and talk through some of these decisions that I'm making about the design of our front garden. So come with me and let's have a chat about the things that I'm considering doing here in the front foundation garden. Things are looking pretty good as far as blooms go. We've got, sorry for my mess, but we've got foxgloves blooming, the phlox is coming in, the window boxes and front porch pots are doing really nicely. Over on this side, we've got, what is that white? Yeah, more foxgloves and the Mainite salvia, the caradonna salvia, the rhododendron's just about finished. So, you know, there's a lot of nice things to be looking at in the garden, but as I'm going through and doing some weeding and, you know, just general maintenance, I noticed some things I want to move around and make a better design. So let's talk about that just a little bit. If you've been following the channel for a while, you may remember that I had a series 2 summers ago. Two summers ago, I had a series called Front Foundation Renovation or something along those lines. And I did like 7 or 8 or 9 videos about how I was rearranging almost all of the stuff that's here in the front foundation garden beds. And I made some design choices during that summer. I talked through them with you and I thought they were great. And many of you gave me comments that said, well, you know, maybe you might consider doing something a little bit differently than that, Jenny, because you may not end up happy with your design choices. And, you know, darn it, if you guys weren't right. Here we are 2 summers later, and I'm looking at the way things are laid out, and I'm thinking, yeah, it was worth a try, but it's not working. So let me give you some examples. Thing 1, these soft touch hollies that I have dotted across the front, I thought that they would bring a big cohesion and somewhat of a border and some connection between my very disparate plantings down the row. But really, they just don't have the visual impact required to do that. I mean, they are a round blob in front, and that contrasts with some of the other plant forms there. But they just don't do the job of connecting the plantings together, I don't think. So maybe they'll do better when they're a little more fully grown, but they're not really expected to get much bigger than they are. And so I'm thinking I either need to put in twice as many and connect them tighter together, or I need to come up with some other way to kind of bring some unity across the front of the border. I'm not sure. The second thing is this golden variegated liriope. It's a nice bright color of gold and chartreuse green. It gives a little strappy texture. And so we used to have them kind of lining right here, sort of like a runway ramp up to the front door. And 2 summers ago, I dug them all out, I divided them up, and I spread them in like random pockets. Now I've already taken them out over here. This morning. You can see them all sitting right here, but I haven't taken the ones out over here yet. So you can see what I was going for. Like here's a clump, there's a clump, coming around this way. There's a clump sneaky back there. There's one here, there's one back there. There's one back there, and there's one over here, and there's one over here. And this catbird is really mad at me for being too near her nest. She's yelling at me to go away. So let me get away from her nest a little bit. But anyway, so the liriope plan, why did I do these little pockets of liriope? I don't know why. I don't remember why. I think I thought that it would kind of act like, I don't know, a little surprise special pop of chartreuse color throughout the garden. But really what happens is it just looks messy. It looks like I left my, socks laying around the house and the carpet everywhere in the house. It's kind of what it looks like. So instead of having any visual impact at all, it just has a negative. I mean, it does have visual impact. It's a negative one, though. It looks messy. It looks like I didn't know what I was doing when I was planting them. Some of them you can't even see, so they aren't even effective in any sort of way. But the ones you can see from varying angles in the garden, they didn't do what I hoped they would do, which was bring some mass of unity across. Instead, they just made everything look messy. So those are coming out. Okay, a couple of other things. I just love this caradonna sage. I think it's very, very, very beautiful. I love how tall it gets. I love how deep purple they are. I love the spiky texture in the garden. I have some Maynite salvia and some Caradonna salvia. Maynite looks pitiful compared to the Caradonna. They just don't compare well. So I need to move them apart from each other so that the Maynite can shine on its own merits, not be compared to its larger, more impactful cousin. And then the thing about it is that over here in front of this iris clump, I also have Maynite and Caradonna, and over here the Maynite is the star of the show and the Caradonna is kind of pitiful. So that's interesting to me. So yeah, I think both of those clumps over here and over here need to be rearranged so that the Caradonna can be more of an impactful clump on its own, and the Maynite can be more of an impactful clump on its own. And I have the same situation over here. I only have I don't have as much over here, but it's a similar thing. Let's see. Yeah, on this side, I've got the Caradonna in the front and the Maynite, poor little, playing second fiddle down there. So those need to be separated from each other so that this guy can thrive. And then back here, I only have the one Caradonna, and it's just clumped in. It is jammed in together with, what is that? Blue Fortune hyssop and some echinacea. These are way too close together. Even if I like the arrangement, which I kind of do, I don't want this salvia to be behind the hyssop, and I don't want the hyssop to be so close to the coneflower. So I got to separate them at least for spacing, but also I'm thinking I took out an azalea from here, and now I have a gap here, which is nice. I think I'm going to pull the salvia over this way and separate out the salvia that I have and make a kind of a, what do you call it, a swath of the Caradonna that goes behind this soft touch holly, in front of the lily trees and beside these irises. I think that'll be better. And then I'll put the Maynite maybe over in this area or in front of here so that its blue spikes can shine against the arborvitae. Now the trick is, on this other side, I don't have room in front of the arborvitae because the garden bed is different shape over here. So I'll need to find a different spot for the Maynite, but maybe it could go, maybe I'll put them both on the inside, kind of in this gap right here and right here. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Oh my gosh, you're seeing me. By the way, those of you who pay attention to such things, yes, I'm growing my hair color out, and I appreciate maybe no comments on what my hair looks like, because you know what? I'm growing my color out, and it's an in-between stage, and this isn't a fashion channel anyway, so, thank you for understanding. Okay, so I'm thinking for sure today I need to pull out those liriope. Now, I am not going to be replanting the liriope anywhere. And why is that, Jenny? Well, because my Master Gardener training that I just completed, I just spent 3 months learning about the benefits of native plants and the detriments of invasive non-natives. And liriope is in the invasive non-native category. It does spread. Now, this golden variegated variety, I have not seen it seed anywhere in my garden. And I do have it everywhere in the garden right now. And so I don't think that it's an invasive the way the plain blue one, the green leaves with the blue flowers. That one does self-seed around, and it has escaped cultivation in Maryland. The golden one probably hasn't escaped cultivation, but the thing is about liriope, there is no ecological benefit to liriope for the pollination species. So there aren't, it's not a big draw for lots and lots of pollinators the way some of our other native species are. It does have beauty benefit in the garden, and it will do things like hold slope and prevent erosion. So I understand why people use it in that application, but there are other choices that you could be using that are native that hold slope and prevent erosion as well. Carex is a great replacement for liriope. So I'm going to be not replanting these liriope, and I'm not going to offer them up to anyone. I'm going to actually dispose of them, because as a master gardener, I don't want it in my garden, and I really don't want it in my neighborhood. I want people in my neighborhood, to the extent that I have any influence, to be planting native species, or at least non-invasive non-natives. So that's why I'm making that choice. Every gardener has to make these choices on their own. I certainly have a bajillion non-native species in my garden, and I do have non-native invasives still in my garden, and slowly but surely I'm going to be changing those over. So I didn't mean this to turn into a rant about natives versus non-natives, but there you go. I'm just explaining my reasoning. I'm not putting these back in my garden, and I'm not giving them to any of my neighbors for their gardens either. Okay, and then I forgot to finish what I was talking about. So I'm definitely going to be pulling the liriope out, and I'm hoping that I'll have time and energy to move the salvias. Now, they're in full bloom right now. This is like perhaps the exact worst time to move a plant, when it's in full bloom. However, this is the time when I have the time to do it, and I'm just going to take the risk. Salvias are pretty tough plants, so I'm going to just grab as much soil with it as I can, and to not disturb the roots to disturb the roots as little as I can. Try to move them gently and water them deeply, and just hope for the best after that. Because I transplanted these when they were in full flower, I need to do the hard thing, which is cut off the flowers and cut down the stalks to a junction where there are new shoots coming out. And that way the plant can focus its energies in these first couple of weeks on root development, getting into its new location. And then when it's ready, it can maybe send out more shoots and flowers later in the season. So this might be heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking, but it needs to be done for the health of the plants. I do love the color of these spikes against this arborvitae. So yeah, I'm super happy with it. Actually, lemon thread cypress, not arborvitae. So I am in love with this color combination. I think it's gonna be very punchy, and I like it. But for now, I just gotta trim it down. I'll put these in a vase maybe. That could be a way to make use of them. And I have trimmed it down to a leaf node where there are new shoots coming out. So do that for all of them. I mean, on these flowers, a lot of them have already passed their prime. These were just brand new coming out though, so I feel bad about losing these, but it is the best thing for the health of the plants in their new location. Alright, so that looks pretty good. I'm hoping that these three will grow nicely here. I did use Biotone starter fertilizer in the holes, and I watered them very thoroughly. So hopefully we won't get too much leaf wilt today due to the transplant. So we'll wish them well and hope for the best. Okay, so I only had one plant on this side to put into this location, whereas on this side I had 3. So I am not going to take one of these and put it over there to have 2 and 2. What I'm going to do is just buy 2 more May-Night salvias to put in here, because I think I just want that. So that's what I'm planning to do. So I'll be on the lookout for 2 more May-Night salvias to put in these locations near these lemon thread arborvitae. So I think the lemon thread cypress, my mistake, sorry. So I'm happy with the new placement of the May Nights. I think I'm going to wait a little bit on the Caradonas and move them after their first flush of bloom is totally done. They're just so gorgeous. I would hate to have to cut them off the way I did the others. But at least now I have a plan for what I'm going to be doing with them. Yeah, over here I'm going to take this big plant here, pull it away from the fairy rose, pull it away from the echinacea, and kind of put it back this way over here. So and it'll be nice in front of the lily trees as they grow up, and they start blooming after the white irises are done, so that'll be nice. And they'll be behind this round soft touch holly, so maybe that'll actually help the holly stand out a little bit more and be more effective as a round form in the garden. So yeah, those movements will happen after these first blooms are finished flowering though, because I do love the way they look. Okay, and then in general, this front garden needs a lot more work. I need to move out this autumn joy sedum because the deer just keep eating it. Every time it grows new green growth, the deer come along and eat it again. You can see down in there, the deer have chomped. And so it's just frustrating to try to grow something where they never flower because the deer just get to them. So I need to pull these out and give them to somebody who can use them, or maybe find a spot in the backyard. I might move the orange rocket barberry over this way to get it out of the business of the fairy rose. The rose is 2 years old now, and it really does get to be like 4 or 5 feet tall and wide, and it's beautiful. It's got tons and tons of buds on it right now. We're going to have a gorgeous show here in a couple, I don't know, maybe a week or so. But the deer do eat this too, as you can see right there. But at least they haven't been back lately, so I do get blossoms on them sometimes. The foxgloves will be just about done here in just a little while, so maybe that project, moving these out, moving this over, will happen after those foxgloves are done. And these are Husker Red Penstemon, which are getting ready to open up probably tomorrow. They'll be opening. Sorry for the bad focus. So I've got a hole in here. I am letting these violets grow as a native ground cover to help keep the soil in place. But I have gaps here, and I need to come up with a plan to fill them. So that's what's happening right now. Well, thanks for coming along with me as I talk a little bit about some changes to make in this front garden. Would you have made the same changes? Would you have made the same choice with the liriope that I'm making? Would you have done something different? Let me know in the comments down below. Are you working on your garden? Are you rearranging things now that your perennials are coming up and you see how things are and what's next to each other? I mean, this is the time of year that I just go crazy with wanting to make changes, and so timing them compared to the bloom cycles and the weather and, you know, time available, that's all a big puzzle in life, but it's fun anyway. Well, thanks for joining me today. I hope you're having fun wherever you are and whatever state your garden is in. And I hope I'll see you again soon in a new video. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.